Three causes of the fear of the Lord. So, three causes, this is the things that should cause us to fear the Lord. Okay? Number one, understanding our position. So God is the brains behind the operation called life. He's the one that pushed start on this world. Okay, Genesis means beginning. He's the one that pushed the start on the beginning. He is the beginning, and He is Lord, which means that He is owner. The word Lord means owner, and I don't think you should feel a way about that, because a lot of people really feel a way about Lord meaning owner, but we have landlords, which means owner of the land. We didn't originate from ourselves. No matter if anybody has that doctrine, we all came from somewhere. We did not create our bodies. We did not create the spirits that animate these bodies. We have a source, and God is our source. Father, it means source, and we are His children, aka His sons, aka His offspring. And I like to think about it in this sense. Will a child ever be over a parent in the family hierarchy structure? No. The child will always be under the parent. Does that mean that the child is less than the parent? No, it does not. But that means that the child has an authoritative figure over him or her, right? So the parent is the child's authority, and God is our authority. So even if you are a parent, you still have to be parented, and you have to be parented by God. You don't know everything as a parent. And we have to remember that God is the Ancient of Days. So even if you've been on this earth for 45, 65, 80 years, you still don't know everything, because God knows all. So He is the ultimate parent. So the first cause of the fear of the Lord is understanding our position, how we will always be under God's authority, and there's nothing we can do about that. And it's a beautiful thing, because God is love. He's not going to try to get over on us like people do. He's not going to try to manipulate us like people do. He's not going to do any of that. He created you in the world that you live in, or the earth that you live in, because He loves you, because He wanted heaven and earth to look just the same, and He wanted His children to rule just like Him. So this earth is a place for us to rule just like God. All right, so understanding position. God is in a class of His own, and we are His children, and we are in the God class, if that makes sense. Number two, obligation. Y'all, God has a standard for how we live. As His people, we have a standard. And our standard is in this book. Our standard, the way that we should live and conduct ourselves, is in this book. God created us on purpose, with a purpose, for a purpose. We are His ambassadors. We are the salt of the earth, He says. We are the light of the world. We are His peculiar people. And a part of our duty is to fear God and to keep His commandments, according to Ecclesiastes 12:3. So we have an obligation. We're not just on this earth just to be on this earth. We were literally born into this earth complete. We were literally born packed with everything that we need to fulfill God's purpose for our life. We're not creating a purpose for our life, but we're learning and unpacking, or we're supposed to be learning and unpacking God's purpose for our lives, because we are always in God. I like to think of the earth as Mother Earth, and us being in the womb of the earth. And with the structure of having a father and a mother, right? God being the father, the spirit, and then earth being the physical mother, and us being the children, we're to learn, we can look into nature, right? And the mother in a family structure is always going to reiterate what the father has already said. So the mother will always reiterate the instruction from the father. That's why we can look into nature and we can see God. if that makes sense. But we have an obligation to fulfill the purpose that God has given us, to fulfill our unique assignment, and to do what He has said. And that brings me to the next and final cause of us fearing the Lord, which is responsibility. And all responsibility means is we have the ability to respond. And I know you might be like me, like, oh my gosh, why we have to have rules? Sometimes I'd be like, why? This is so aggravating. But you know that if we didn't have no rules, everything would be chaotic. Like, think about it. We think about rules, we can think about rules as a bad thing, but rules literally govern life. You have you have rules in everything. Like there is just like my hair, like your hair. Your hair, it'll our hair, the people that look like me, our hair grows out and then it grows down. People that don't look like me, your hair grows straight down, right? But there is a rule, okay? There's a rule for that. I don't know the rule, but there's a universal law that shows our our a universal law that our hair even is governed by, right? There are rules that like with gravity. That's part of the reason why our hair probably, grows down and some of our hair defies gravity or whatever. But there is a universal law of gravity. What goes up is going to come down. And then when you get into like an airplane, it defies the rules of gravity and taps into another law or our rule called aerodynamics. So rules are important because if there weren't any rules, there will be chaos. I hope this makes sense. So, yes, it can really seem daunting though, y'all, to really keep in step with God's commands. But First John 5 and 3 says God's commands are not burdensome. And if we really think about what God tells us to do, it's pretty simple. It's not always easy, but it's very simple. It be little things. So none of it is burdensome, right? And the beautiful thing about all of this is God built us to respond to his commands. He built us with the ability to respond. We can respond. That's why he said these things. And it's not like we got to follow the whole entire Bible. No, God shows us what to do. And once we obey, it just builds. We're forever learning. We're forever growing. We're forever learning. And it is not up to us to remember this whole Bible. It is not up to us to follow the law. We're following the spirit, which is the law. If that makes sense. Okay? So let's get into what it actually means to fear the Lord. Okay?